Hey guys, Jimmy Shoots here, and these are the do's and the don'ts of purchasing your first firearm. Before we get into the video though, I just wanted to say, if this is your first time purchasing a firearm, this is a super exciting time in your life and I'm really happy for you. Owning a firearm really does change your perspective on things and heightens your knowledge and your willingness to educate yourself on safety and preservation of life. So again, congratulations, and let's get on to the video. So we'll start with the do's and then the don'ts of purchasing your first firearm. These are things that I wish that I knew when I purchased my firearm, because I made a ton of mistakes, a ton of expensive mistakes too, might I add, that could have saved me some money or helped me allocate money in more areas that needed more money in, I guess. The very first thing when purchasing your first firearm is identifying your purpose of that firearm. Are you going to have this firearm for your EDC? Are you going to carry this? Are you going to get your concealed carry permit? Is this going to be a home defense gun? Is this just going to be a toy, that you have in a safe that every once in a while you and your buddies go out to the range and have a good time? Is this going to be a race gun? Are you going to start getting into competition shooting? These are all things that you need to know prior to purchasing your firearm, because knowing what the purpose of this tool is going to serve is going to shorten the umbrella of firearms that fit that role. So for example, me, when I purchased my first firearm, my purpose was I want this to be my everyday carry. And along with that, it's gonna back up as my home defense weapon. So my number one priority when looking for an EDC and a home defense firearm is gonna be its reliability. For me, reliability is king. And of course, Glock has the proven track record of being one of the most reliable firearms on the market. For me, it was a no-brainer. I didn't really care how the trigger felt. I'm not gonna be using this gun in competitions. I need this gun to go bang if I need it to go bang. And that's exactly what Glock does. Now, for other people, I need a race gun, or I wanna be able to shoot crazy things. Those are gonna all have different priorities. And again, that's gonna lessen the umbrella of firearms and fit that role for you. The second item, please rent the firearm that you're looking to purchase and send some shots down the lane with it at the range before you purchase your firearm. Okay, I'm gonna put it like this. You wanna buy a new car, right? I have the Civic in mind, I have this Audi in mind, I have whatever. You're not just gonna go to the dealership and purchase that car without giving it a test drive first. That is exactly what you need to do with your firearm, especially if you're going to be having your life or someone else's life rely on this tool. You wanna make sure that you shoot that gun and feel, hey, is this for me? You present, you shoot, you're like, I don't really like how snappy it is. It kind of hurts my wrist, it's kind of heavy, it's long. I don't really like the trigger, or I don't really like the ergonomics of it. These are all things that you need to figure out before purchasing your firearm. If you do purchase that firearm, you're not just stuck, with something that you're unsatisfied with. So just making sure that you rent that firearm, you shoot that gun, and you come to a realization like, hey, I like this firearm. This feels like it belongs in my hands, right? Those are all things that you should be looking for when renting your first firearm. Okay, boom, I've rented my firearms. Okay, I have a couple in mind that I like. I have this Glock over here, I have this SIG over here, or this Smith & Wesson. These three, they're all pretty nice, right? The next thing that you wanna understand is your budget for that firearm. Maybe I wanna stick to under $500. Maybe I don't have a budget. Maybe it's more in the $700, whatever the case may be. This budget is also gonna dictate, once you find your little umbrella of firearms that you're willing to purchase, what gun is actually in your feasible range. That's also gonna help narrow down your decision. But when putting your budget together, make sure that you keep in mind what expenses come after purchasing your firearm. I'm talking about accessories that, in my opinion, are must-have when purchasing a firearm. Things like having a holster, things like having a flashlight if it's gonna be home defense, things like having a safe, if you have a family or you have children running around the house and you don't want to have your gun just laying around in your drawer or underneath your pillow or whatever, those things all cost money. And if you budget yourself to just the firearm, you're like, oh man, my max is $700, and then you buy, you know, an M&P 2.0 and that's $700, and now you're broke for your safe, you're broke for ammo, you're broke for accessories, whatever the case may be. Just make sure that you keep that in mind. Another thing I also want to say is keep in mind ammo pricing and ammo availability. I have a 5.7. You go to purchase ammo and it's $1 a round. It's not actually $1 a round, but that's what it seems like. Every time I shoot that firearm, I just hear dollar signs going off in my head, and it makes me not even want to shoot the gun. It just makes me want to put it in a case or something to be looked at, to be glorified. So just make sure that you're keeping in mind ammo availability and ammo costs. If it's in your budget. If you don't have a budget, then you know, you don't have to worry about it, baller. That's all I'm saying. People like me, other people might have a budget, you know, might have to keep these things into consideration. So, okay guys, enough of the do's. Let's get into the don'ts, man. The don'ts of purchasing your first firearm. And I want to say the number one thing when purchasing a firearm, do not get a firearm just because it looks cool. Man, I know it's super hard going on YouTube for weeks on end and looking at all these Gucci Glocks with a Surefire X300 turbo on it and an RMR and mag extensions, and it's ported on the top, and you're like, man, like that looks sick. Like I want that gun just because it looks great. And then you invest $15, $16, $100, whatever the case may be, into purchasing that Gucci firearm that you bought, and you take it to the range and you're shooting it and you're like, holy shit, this thing sucks. This thing is like, I hate it. Like, I cannot shoot this gun anymore. Like, and what's gonna happen is that gun is either gonna sit in your safe and you're gonna end up purchasing another gun, or you're just never gonna shoot it. You know, simple as that. So I would say, do not purchase a firearm just because it looks cool. Like, for example, me, man, the Glock, this thing looks trash. Like, its ergonomics or whatever, you know, it doesn't really look good. It's very blocky. It's pretty heavy upon presentation, and it's not the flashiest gun. I will say that. It's not the flashiest gun. However, I know for a fact that this gun is gonna go bang when I need it to go bang. So, number one, do not buy a gun just because it looks cool. Next don't of purchasing your firearm is going crazy on aftermarket accessories. Man, even I fell victim to this, I'm not gonna lie. There are things that I bought for my Glock that I had just either left in storage, left in a box, you know, that I never touched again, or things that are honestly still on my firearm that like don't necessarily need to be on there. And for example, that's my Trijicon night sights. They're not night height sights. When I'm presenting my firearm, they're not suppressor height, so I'm not co-witnessing. And the bottom of my Holosun essentially just blocks this out. So even if my Holosun fails, I'm still not gonna be able to rely on my irons to hit my target, right? Like at this point, like if my Holosun fails, I'm just relying on muscle memory, on keeping that gun pointed at a target and shooting. This magwell, I purchased this magwell, I don't even really like it. Like I spent $40 on this magwell, and I have a Magpul magwell that was like 20 bucks. I don't know, that I like way more. But I wanted to accessorize, I wanted it to look cool. And what you need to do is become familiar with your firearm. Then you can start doing research into the accessories that you can put on said firearm that can help you with the application for whatever this tool is gonna be used for. I wanna say another don't. Do not purchase your firearm and then just stuff it in a safe or in a case or whatever and never touch it. This tool is going to be used for preservation of life, for safety, for yourself, for your family, for anyone else. You need to make sure that you become familiar with this tool. All right, another don't. Do not rush purchasing your firearm. We all have time. This is not a race. This is going to be something that you will be using to protect yourself, to protect your family, to protect someone else. And the decision-making process that goes into what tool that will be used for that needs to be done with care. You don't want to just go in blindly, I want a gun right now. When it comes to something like this, please take your time. my biggest piece of advice, please take your time. This is gonna be something that's gonna change your life, and you wanna really make sure that this tool is right for you. Once that first firearm has been purchased, then okay, we can start talking about what my second gun's gonna look like. Okay, now I want a race gun, now I'm gonna start training and things like that. And I think your very first gun needs to be bought with care. A bonus tip for people who are purchasing your first firearm, I wish somebody told me this. I didn't even realize this when I purchased my first firearm, but how expensive this hobby is. It really truly is expensive. You can go on YouTube and you can see these guys with crazy armories and 10, 20 firearms, and that's just mind-boggling to me. All of them are decked out with RMRs and Trijicon scopes, and they all have the nicest uppers, and you know, everyone's shooting premium ammo, and it's just like, for many of us, those things are not achievable. It's super expensive. So just make sure that you're allocating your money appropriately and not just throwing money at a wall. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed my opinions and my advice on do's and don'ts when purchasing your first firearm. And if you do end up purchasing your first firearm, please let me know down in the comments below what you ended up picking up. Until next time, it's Jimmie Shoots. I'll see you guys later.